children. So today in FPE we are going to be talking about St Francis of Assisi. Let's just remind ourselves what we were doing last week in FPE. We were talking about being kind to animals and to nature. Do you remember? So today I've chosen a saint who was very kind to animals and who is said to be able to speak to animals. Let's just remind ourselves what FPE stands for. F stands for faith, what religion you believe. P, philosophy, thinking deeply about things. And E, ethics, knowing right from wrong. And I'm going to read you the story of St Francis of Assisi. So let's just zoom in on the photo so you can be looking at it. Have you ever wished you could talk to the animals? It's believed that St Francis could. St Francis was born to a wealthy family. His father was away in France when he was born, and his mother baptized him shortly after his birth, naming him St John the Baptist. But the father was angry. He didn't want his son named after a saint. He wanted his son to be a rich cloth merchant, like he was. So he renamed his son Francesco, after the country of France which he loved, and Francis for short. Growing up, young Francis had everything he could want. They were very wealthy. He didn't have to ask for anything. And as a teenager, he didn't lead a good life. But he did feel something was missing. He thought if he could become famous, his life would be perfect. So he decided to join a crusade, which is a war to save the Holy Land. He bought some beautiful armour, a horse, and everything else that was needed. He boasted that he would return famous. But only after one day of the crusade he had a dream. God wanted him to return home. And St Francis followed God's will. This was not an easy thing to do because of all the boasting he'd done before. Ha ha, people teased him. Look at St Francis. He became famous for being in the army for only one day. Ha ha. St Francis heard this teasing everywhere he went. He began to pray. One day when he was out riding his horse, he spied a dirty, sick, smelly man. What would you do if you met someone like this? Well, St Francis got off his horse and gave this man a kiss on the hand. This made St Francis feel much better. And as he rode off on his horse, he glanced back. The man had disappeared. That must have been a test from God. A year ago, I would have turned my horse away from that man and ignored him. I would not have wanted to go near a sick, smelly person. St Francis regularly went to a crumbling old church to pray, and one day he heard Jesus talking. "Fix my church," said Jesus. So St Francis took lots of his family money and had the church repaired, but his father was so angry. "Give me back the money, Francis," said his father. So Francis decided that he did not want to be part of his family anymore. He didn't want his family money anymore. So he began to live a life of a beggar. And he prayed to God all the time. There are many stories about St Francis being able to talk to animals. One day there was a large flock of birds that St Francis preached to, telling them they should be thankful to God. The birds listened as he walked among them. They only flew away when he told them to fly away. There's another story about St Francis talking to a wolf. This wolf had killed many people in the town, and the townspeople were going to hunt it and kill it. So St Francis went and talked to the wolf instead and told it not to kill anyone. The wolf obeyed and even became friendly with the townspeople, and they always fed the wolf after that. So, would you like to be able to talk to animals? I know I would. Something interesting to think about. For your follow-up work, I would like you to either print off this sheet, draw a lovely picture of as many animals as you can think of. They can be your own animals or animals from the picture of St Francis, and do a little bit of writing what you can remember about St Francis of Assisi. There's also a colouring sheet if you would like to do that one as well. And we look forward to seeing all your lovely work. Bye bye, children.